Those ridges are so hard and sharp that at Cheung Ek they were sometimes used to slit prisoners' throats.
The sugar palm tree has many agricultural uses and benefits. However, on this site, it was used in a more sinister manner. Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to another edition of Borders on Budgets. On this episode, we pay a solemn visit to the Cheung Et Genocidal Center outside of Phnom Penh, home of the most infamous of Cambodia's killing fields.
When a person's throat is cut, he or she cannot shout or make a sound.
The information was extracted from them. Barbed wire in the electrified fence. 136 people died. The poignancy of war. Mortality was 10%. The harmony of songbirds and a garden of mature trees provide an oasis of beauty and tranquility in the Cambodian countryside, on the outskirts of the nation's capital, Phnom Penh. However natural this site is today, this landscape facade only masks the true horrors this area contains. For 3 years and 8 months, beginning in April 1975, the fanatical regime of the communist Khmer Rouge under the dictator Pol Pot terrorized this country into submission in an attempt to turn Cambodia into an agrarian haven of equality. Anyone who was not part of the peasant class was deemed to be an enemy of the state. The use of the phrase killing fields is most appropriate. The mounds and the holes found at Cheung Et represent some of the more than 100 graves that were discovered after the Khmer Rouge were ousted in 1979. Cheung Et was chosen as an execution ground because it was already the site of a graveyard for the local Chinese. Also, because of its proximity to Phnom Penh, the prisoners at the city's Tuol Sleng prison were eventually sent here for their execution. To begin to grasp the magnitude of the brutality of the Cambodian genocide, it was from this small grave site where over 450 bodies were exhumed. Death sentences for those transported here were immediate, usually implemented within a day or two. However, the means of execution were neither swift nor humane. Primitive tools such as axes, bamboo poles, shovels, and yes, even the branches of the sugar palm tree were used to bludgeon or cut their victims to death. The use of these blunt instruments was to save the Khmer Rouge the cost of bullets. In 1975, the conditions were ripe for the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot to take control of Cambodia. For 5 years, this country struggled towards overthrowing its ruling monarch, while in neighboring Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh was successful in his war against the capitalist United States. So, for the Cambodian population, most of whom were living in poverty, the idea of an agrarian communal society, communism, certainly appeared enticing. Of the 129 mass graves at Cheung Et, it is said a third are in this pond where the bodies cannot be recovered. A particularly somber spot is known as the Magic Tree. It was from here where loudspeakers were hung that blared revolutionary music. Besides the screeches of slogans and propaganda, the noise was used to drown out the cries of those being executed.
These were the last sounds the victims ever heard.
Upwards of 20,000 were killed at Cheung Et. So many people were murdered here that even 40 years later, clothes and body parts are unearthed during the rainy season. At the conclusion of the tour of Cheung Et is this stupa, or place of meditation. Inside, on 17 levels, are just some of the remains of about 9,000 victims, or half, who were murdered here. For as horrific as Chong-e was, it was just one of more than 300 killing fields discovered in Cambodia once the Khmer Rouge were ousted in 1979. In a period of 3 years and 8 months, the genocide, when Cambodians killed Cambodians, decimated 1/4 of this country's population. The total number of victims, over 2 million. This has been another edition of Borders on Budgets. A reminder, Borders on Budgets, long distance hikes, slices of life, not a lot of money. From the Chong-e Genocidal Center outside of Phnom Penh, Cambodia, thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Which one means avalanche? This is the Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum back in Phnom Penh. This had been known as the S-21 Detention Center before prisoners were sent to Chong-e. Help Borders on Budgets grow. Hit the subscribe button below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends who would like to know a little bit more about this sad chapter of Cambodian history.